He retired as professor from the School of Media and Cultural Studies, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. They have together made around 35 documentary films on various subjects. This film, A Delicate Weave, is set in Kutch in Gujarat and traces 4 different musical journeys, all converging in the ways they affirm religious diversity, syncretism, and love of the other. Drawing on the poetic and musical traditions of Sant Kabir and Shah Bitai, as well as the folk traditions of the region, these remarkable musicians and singers testimony to how these oral traditions and compassion are being passed down from one generation to the next. This film is the third in the Kutch trilogy, like Do Din Ka Mela, 2009, 2-Day Fair, and So Hedan, So Hodan, Like Here, Like There, 2011. I was fortunate enough to watch that film in their presence at a different venue. And now it is the next one, A Delicate Weave, Jeenie Beanie Chadariya. Let's watch the film and then we'll have a short Q&A. Thank you. Thank you.
तो अभी ये हमारे भाई भजन कभी
First and foremost, I really don't have words to thank you, Anjali and Mr. Jaishankar. Absolutely fabulous. Having seen the second film the other day, and I was actually waiting to see this one, and now I'm so tempted to see the first one whenever I can, and I'm sure all of you may be feeling, may not have seen the second one. Well,
they're online, so you can see them.
Yeah. You should. You must see the first one, which I haven't also seen, but the second one, fabulous. And before anything else, I don't know where to start because everything was so fabulous. Mr. Jaishankar, your cinematography was absolutely great because, I have a great fascination for cinematography because that really adds to any film.
Thank you.
Documentary or a full-length film. The thing is that, we are also used to a city life and city culture and all of that and feel delighted that, we have advanced, we are, so big now, we can compete with the whole world. But, this is the life which should stay on. And by filming all of this in these 3 films, you've done such a big service because this tradition should remain and it shouldn't go away. I mean, there is a lot of modernization which has come. They're using the motorbike, the tractor, the mobile phone and everything else, recording and so on. It has the advantages. Since everything was vocal and now that, they'll be recorded and they will remain. But this is the rural life which we are not familiar with. And especially the Ran, I think we are hardly knowing unless somebody has really gone and seen those areas. Are they continuing to remain, since you filmed quite recently, they are so different from the rest of the country. I mean, there must be various parts in the country, in various states, which are like this. And since you made these 3 films, did you kind of just film them, or did you have a story in place, or a certain pattern in which you wanted to do these 3 parts?
Well, as you know, we've been filming in Kutch from 2008, and this film was completed in 2017. So we worked between 8 and 11, and then after that, between 11 and 16, we didn't get an opportunity to go there. And then when we went back in 16 and we met our friends in Kutch Mahila Vikas Sangathan, we kind of were discussing with them what we could do next, And they talked about this new program that they had started called Survani, which was like an attempt, not a formal music school, but supporting musicians to teach the younger generation. So we thought that would be an interesting entry point. And of course, the Survani has many, I mean, there were about, I think, more than 30, 35 such initiatives. And so we visited a few, and then we decided to focus on these 4 initiatives that we've included in the film. They come from different musical traditions, Kabir, Bhitai, also different, parts of Kutch, and also different, some are singers, and then we thought this women's group was really something interesting to follow, because it's very rare. This is the only group of women, Muslim women in the whole of Kutch who go out and publicly perform. So between 2016 and 17 we shot for this film, and it was hellish because we get holidays. We could go only in the month of April, so it was shot across 2 Aprils, April of 2016 and 2017. Because we are teachers, and that was the vacation, so we had to go during our vacations.
We both were teachers at Tata Institute of Social Sciences.
Yeah.
Can I add something? So one of the initial impulse, we went in 2008 and kind of fell in love with the place. And one of the reasons why we continued to work there for about 8-9 years is that, when rest of is part of Gujarat, and rest of Gujarat had a lot of ethnic kind of violence, but this place kind of remained calm. And that kind of intrigued us as what's going on here. So that's where we kind of also started looking at these musical traditions of the Sufi pastoralists, and they all sing this music of either Kabir and Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai, and probably that's the reason. The reason why the spaces remain calm, and there has been no ethnic violence. So we decided to kind of document them, and they are all disappearing. And you saw some of these forms here. There are only a couple of practitioners left. This is a kind of singing called Vai, or these double flute. So these traditions are disappearing because of various reasons. One is that lack of patronage and lack of, to learn that music you take 25 years. Who has the time to kind of invest 25 years, and what do you get in return? The chances to perform is very, very, very seldom. So we decided to kind of document, and there's also a threat from more orthodox Islamic kind of practices also. They also think that this music is not really keeping in with their traditions. So there you hear some of the musicians talking about it. And what is important is that these are not just aesthetic traditions. Disappearance of this is, these are like a bulwark against rising politics of hate, so to speak. The disappearance of these would also mean more hate. So we kind of, so this is the third film. The first one is, we worked with a community called Meghwals, which are a Dalit community who sing Kabir. It's a story about an uncle and a nephew. And the second one is, again, Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai, set with a community called Fakirani Jats. And this is more like a compendium of 4 stories.
Yeah, but one change we saw, because from 2008 to 2016.
I was coming to that. Did you
Yeah.
see that from the first film to this? Did you see a change in them, in their attitude, or in any way? Because, and one thing I was really admiring, the fact that the women are coming forward, their faces are not covered, they are singing in public. We have to thank the men for whatever it is.
No.
No,
Yeah.
but then, even then, because, there are restrictions from families, but you did see a difference. And is there a lot of people still there, or are their numbers dwindling, the people there in those areas?
Well, first I'd like to say that, from 2008 to 2016, you see a rise in anxiety. each of the groups, they talked about the issues of communalism. We didn't ask them about it. It came out from them. Each of them brought out, an anxiety that they were experiencing, that the world around them is changing, and how do they hold on to these, traditions of love and compassion, So this is a genuine concern that they had, and, they expressed it on their own without any prompting from us.
Were the younger generation getting influenced by the different music that is available to the rest of the country or the world? Or do they have any interest in learning and this and carrying it forward?
Yeah, there are, as you can see, there are younger people who are learning. Probably they would be a minority, but I mean, it's an attempt to keep them alive and to make them relevant too. So I wouldn't, you can't say that they're dying out. There are these kinds of initiatives, but certainly something like Why, for instance. I mean, Jayant Shah is no more Jayant Khan, I mean, the person you see in the film, he passed away a couple of years ago. And there is another group of, this is a community called the Daneta Jats. And there's another group of 4 singers who are also all pretty old. I don't know now, one of them had cancer, I don't know how many still remain. We've also recorded with them, and we still might put it together in the form of a film on Why. So there are very few practitioners, and they face a lot of, particularly among the Daneta Jats, there's a lot of, influence from traditions that are discouraging music, discouraging visits to Sufi shrines, and so it's difficult for them to teach a younger generation. Even Jayant Khan, the people he's teaching are like pretty old. They're all in their, 50s or 60s. So whether a tradition like that will survive or not, one doesn't know.
Considering Lakhpat is so close to Pakistan, any problem they have, do they face, the people in general?
It's just, Lakhpat is just 40 kilometers away from the international border. And I don't think that, I mean, their relationship with, you remember Noor Mohammed speaking about the better flutes from Pakistan. You hear this all along, because they are so far away from their Bhuj, which is the capital of city of the Kutch. They feel closer to Pakistan, to Karachi than to, because culturally there was no line. It was just very recent, 70 years ago it came. But before that, they would kind of migrate from Kutch to Pakistan, Sindh, and back here. And there was no border. Now there's a line and which is kind of divides them. And, it is, even Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, we refer to here, is a Sufi saint who kind of lived in Sindh. And he came to Kutch, Kutch, then went to Punjab, Rajasthan, and influenced by Sikhism, Advaita, Vedanta, and of course the Sufi. And then he went back to so the whole area is a area of story of migration from here to there. But what is happening in Lakhpat, for example, when we went there, we were amazed by the fact that, there's a Gurudwara, and the ACC has 24 dargahs and 24 masjids and 24 temples. And we told Ramzan Bhai, we want to record. So all of them just walked into the nearest temple and sat there and sang. And then the sound wasn't so great. They then decided to go to the Gurudwara. So it's a different space altogether.
It's
an ancient city.
See actually, this unity.
It's an ancient city where Indus used to flow from there. But, there's an earthquake and it shifted towards Pakistan. So it is an ancient city which kind of died in that sense.
There is much to learn from them, the unity which they are able to maintain, whereas here we are always dividing, and dividing. I think anybody who wants to ask a question.
I think it's the music, ma'am. It's the music which kind of unites and crosses the border, and which is divine and spiritual. So it doesn't matter. It is the human being which introduces this divisiveness. So he's actually talking about Pakistan a lot and about it's wonderful, and the empowerment it is giving.
Their textiles.
Thank you so much for that.
Just one small thing. Like, of course, a substantial part of the film, I apologize, I couldn't see, but there's one dialogue, the woman in that, near the Nadi, they talk among themselves saying that in case our men folk authorize us or something, so how liberal are the men in that village? Do the women really enjoy freedom to the extent that they can go and perform in the neighboring village? Is one thing. The second observation is, I think you are the right ambassadors who can take it forward to the, let's say, the Gujarat government. See, for example, Hyderabad, Sufi music essentially is, advocates love and peace, right? So when in Falaknuma Palace, every evening there is I think Sufi music is being played by a group of performed there as a part of it. Oh, everybody enjoys. So something like that can be done because there's so much of message of unity, harmony, and love, which women also are talking about. So maybe you can do something about it. So my first question was that I think you would like to answer: do the women really enjoy the freedom?
I would say that it's a contested space. It's not that women are given freedom by men, but I think women claim that space. It's a kind of a two-way process, you know. So I think the entry of Kutch Mahila Vikas Sangathan allowed, and their community radio program, and allowed women to come forward and to sing songs that they have always been singing, but to sing it in a more public space. And so I think it's not about women being given space, but how women occupy spaces and how they slowly spread their ability. In fact, it was very interesting, the documentation process. I mean, I think women in Lakhpat actually decided more or less what we should shoot. So they said, okay, now you come to the pond, we're washing clothes, you have to shoot, or you come to this field, or, this is a nice shot, you take a shot from here. So actually we, sort of collaborated with them in terms of, what to shoot, which songs to record. And even this picture she brings out of Shah Bitai 500 years. She said, wait, I have a picture, you have to record it, wait, I'll go and get it. She went home and she brought it in. So I think, it was really interesting how women claimed that space and claimed that right to visibility, and in fact directed us in terms of how they wanted to be depicted. And of course, after the film was completed, we took it back to them and we showed it to them, to the whole community, because we wanted to be sure that they were happy with the way they had been depicted, and they were quite delighted, with the film.
So it was not a kind of a script, you just randomly shot and put them together?
No, not randomly. We went there, we spent time with people, we identified who we wanted to work with, we discussed with them what we
earlier,
were doing.
when you were just planning,
Yeah, so we did spend a lot of time with them and built a relationship of
and then
trust
went
and comfort.
Forward. Went forward,
and then went forward.
And they were comfortable with what you were planning to do and made things more easy for you. I think. Thank you so much for paucity of time. We may not be able to discuss. Parthu, you have anything to ask?
Yeah, I have a very, small question. Before that, we are talking about the, men allowing the women to enjoy the freedom. When this question comes, it actually defeats the purpose of freedom. I believe, the men allowing the women itself is not a freedom. I mean, who are we to allow them? I mean, it's a freedom. Everyone should enjoy that. So that is my anecdote.
Can I add something here?
Yeah, sure.
Unfortunately, we live in a patriarchal society.
Absolutely.
It runs very, very deep.
Absolutely.
So in this case here, we have worked in Kutch for 9 years, and we have not met a group of women who sing publicly. They sing only in the private occasions of marriages and all that. So this is the first group. So that's why we thought it's important to kind of document it. And both the women, we saw Zarina and they were very festy. They were just kind of pushed that envelope of patriarchy, so to speak, to kind of. It's not that they were given freedom. They kind of, as Anjan said,
that's what.
Elbow room they created.
Creating the space. And one last question. I mean,
Sorry.
Once again, just the 500 years old photograph. I mean, I did not get that. I mean,
That's, I mean, obviously it's a way of telling it. I mean, obviously 500 years ago there was no photography, but that's their way of understanding that.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't kind of question that.
yeah, of course.
It's their fate.
Have a question?
What was the greatest message that you understood from your journey?
The greatest message. One is that, local wisdoms are more significant. So I'm a university professor, but I think we think that wisdom exists in universities. Actually, it's wrong to think so. It's actually, we have found much more wise people, in our journey because we always work with communities. You want to add?
Yeah, non-literate communities, I mean, oral traditions, they carry a lot of, very deep philosophical insights. They carry a lot of, they are embedded in the everyday life of these communities, and there is so much we have to learn from them. And I think, and I think rather than us telling them anything, this journey over the 9 years, our journey in Kutch has been a journey of learning, a journey of humility actually, and of, which has, it's not just I don't think we have changed them, but they have certainly changed us.
The other idea is literacy makes us wise, which is absolutely ill-informed idea.
Yeah, it makes us arrogant very often.
There was so much actually that I learnt, and I'm sure others, because I have never seen this, and because of your film, I saw a different India, the people, what they projected, and they were totally unaffected by what is happening to the rest of India, which thinks we are somewhere very big and great. But this is amazing, and this should never, never die. And it's good that they are able to record it these days, because otherwise it was not being written or recorded. So I think that will help it to stay on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks for
you
being
very
here.
much. A big round of applause, please. Thank you so much.